biometrics that I'll show you in a while through a presentation. Like Walter Simcoe, and before him, the prominent psychiatrist from Virginia School of Medicine, Ian Stevenson, it was demonstrated that the bone face architecture is passed from one lifetime to another and is very similar. So what I did, I obviously took some of the pictures of Marilyn Monroe and of Sherry Lee and compared. Biometrics consists not just of the face and the details of the face, but also the similarity between hands, feet, writing. Also, there is a similarity in the voice, which you'll hear pretty soon. Marilyn Monroe singing along with Sherry Lee. At the same time, you'll hear their 50s songs. And you will see that it's very hard to distinguish the difference between the voices. I hope we'll have also the audio conference to talk directly with Sherry Lee Laird. That would be very nice, as we did it in Lilydale, New York. And it worked very well, and the audience liked it, loved it. I don't know what's the situation. Do we have that audio conference now?
Yeah.
We do. Not this moment. Well, I'll let you know, but I'm glad we have it. Okay, good. Now, so that's another way of proving the authenticity of Sherry's claims. Also, there were these synchronicities I started talking about. And I wanted to just read to you a few of them that Sherry herself wrote to me. And I hope I have them here. If not, I have them over here. Yes. All right. I have the coincidences of my own that I marked down, but I'll go to what she wrote. Not everyone believes in these coincidences, but there are so many. And we call them synchronicity, more scientifically, events that occur at the same time, as I said before. She says, since very young, I had crushing chest pains. Now, what does she mean by that? When Marilyn Monroe had died, just before that, she had in her system this barbiturates and alcohol. And the way they work in a scientific paradigm, if I can explain to you that, they are dissolved in the fatty tissues in the body. Now, the nervous system is composed mostly of fat. And the respiratory center in the brain is also made out of fat. So when these barbiturates infiltrate there, they don't infiltrate all of a sudden, but gradually. So that center is not stopped instantaneously. It takes a while, about 15-20 minutes, until it's completely involved by the chemical and it stops. So during this interval, the breathing becomes very difficult and painful. And the person experiences chest pains. Now, what Sherry is telling us here is basically that since she was very young, she experienced these crushing chest pains that when her parents took her to doctors, they couldn't find any reason for it. She was still carrying that trauma from what happened to her at the time of death as Marilyn Monroe. My parents said I was always trying to tell them I was someone else. This is what she says. I went to acting class going to be an actress, singer. I always felt I was supposed to be famous. I went to modeling school briefly. As you know, Norma Jean went through the same motions too. I had anorexia. I read later M had brief anorexia and couldn't find the source. And here is very interesting because Sherry would not read about Marilyn Monroe or Norma Jean and then come up and find out how she feels, but she would feel something and then she would check it out. She would research it. I married an army guy next door as Sherry, so she did as Norma Jean. Kezia, my daughter, was born December 11th, 1994, and she does look like Marilyn Monroe. Now, and here is very interesting to say something, because it's another coincidence that we didn't even dream about, that Kezia, her daughter now, happened to be Gladys Baker, the mother of Marilyn Monroe. Now they switched roles. The mother before is the daughter. That's why Kezia had this compulsion to mother her mother all the time, like an old lady. And not only that, Gladys Baker died in Calgary, though she was from the United States. She was born in Mexico but lived in the United States. But in the last years of her being in an institution, she was 50 years in an institution with schizophrenia. So she died there in Calgary. When did she die? She died in March 11th, 1984. Kezia was born 9 months later. Not only that, as I pointed out to you about the Normoon nodes with Sherry, they apply Kezia too, but the reverse. Kezia was, in her life as Marilyn's mother, as Gladys Baker, in the Normoon node of Scorpio, which is really experiencing a lot of wars, and in her case, the torment of schizophrenia. Now, in this life, she is in the Normoon node of Taurus. It's the opposite, 180 degrees. So, in my experience with thousands of people that I regressed over 30 years, I found many times this correlation, that people come back to complete an experience they didn't complete before, like Sherry is completing Marilyn's experience, being in the same Normoon node. And the ones that lived a long life, now they come to switch the other node. If they had a terrible life, like of Scorpio in that previous one, then now they are learning Taurus, which is the opposite. It's a life of a garden of peace and harmony and all this stuff. So that fit too. Not to talk about the house Nord node that in Sherry and in Marilyn are also the same. For some, they don't happen all the time. And they are in Aquarius, which means they are here specifically not just to learn about family, but also to be humanitarian, to give a message to the world. A message of peace, healing, and love. I dated two brothers at the same time, which they allowed. One was looking exactly like Tony Curtis. And she had a crush on Tony Curtis, Marilyn Monroe, I don't know if you know that. Tony Curtis disclosed, and it was published in Esquire magazine. It's an article there, page 108, I believe. The last issue, January issue. Yeah. So he confesses that he had an affair of 6-7 months with Marilyn Monroe.